In this edition of Southern Newsweek, better weather gives contractors an opportunity to fill coastal sand sausages, but is it too little too late? DOC gets in behind a local group's conservation campaign, but support from another area is also required. And food research just got a helping hand with the opening of 3 new state-of-the-art laboratories. Kia ora, I'm Holly Buchanan. A number of sand sausages are finally being installed at Ocean Beach after a run of bad weather recently delayed the process. The $800,000 exercise is the Dunedin City Council's latest attempt to protect the dunes from erosion and heavy seas. But questions remain as to whether the sandbags are enough to protect the vulnerable coastline.
Pushing sand uphill. 2 diggers and a handful of contractors are working on filling these large tubes with a blend of sand and water. It's the Dunedin City Council's latest attempt to help prevent high seas from eroding the sand dunes. The method was tried around 10 years ago, but the remains of those remain evident at St Clair. The problem of coastal erosion in Dunedin is not a new one. The workers behind me are again working with sand sausages in an attempt to staunch the coastal erosion. Tom Dyer of the DCC is one of those working on the erosion and believes the sand sausages will help. However, it appears to be a short-term fix.
Yeah, so we got about 9 years out of the last sand sausages, and they were a slightly different design and configuration. The new materials are a lot thicker and more robust, so provided we get a similar run of weather over the next decade, we're hoping to get roughly the same amount of time out of them.
Dyer says along with the new tubes being thicker, they're also being made in compartments, allowing for easy repair work. The sand inside is a product of recent harbour dredging by Port Otago, mixed with seawater. The last time this type of work was undertaken, it came at a cost of around $300,000. But Dyer says this time around, the budget is considerably more.
So the construction works contract is around $400,000, but the overall works, including design and procurement of the bags and procurement of sand from Port Otago, will come to around $800,000.
He says the timeline for the project is weather dependent, with completion forecast for late July. Council staff are asking for the public's cooperation while the work is going on, particularly during high tide when parts of the beach will be closed. Daryl Baser, 39, Dunedin News.
Thousands of local high school students are gaining important insight into what the world of work entails. The Dunedin Careers Expo is back for another year with more than 40 stalls designed to give the city's young adults options for their futures. And already some participants are feeling confident they know what it is they want to do.
Going over the options, the city's high school students are getting a taste of what job opportunities may be available to them after they finish school. They're taking part in this year's Dunedin Careers Expo, an event that's grown exponentially in a short time.
This is about the 3rd year that we've had the Careers Expo going in Dunedin. It grew out of Kaikoura Valley several years ago running it.
More than 3,000 students from 15 schools have descended on the expo being held at Forbury Park. Around 40 different industries and institutes are represented, giving the gathered students an overwhelming amount of choice.
It's good, like, seeing options and stuff. Yeah.
What? Company tallies, is it? It's interesting. There's a lot of hard work, which I like to do, and I'm really interested in it. It's my future as well.
It's good just to explore the options. It's always good to have the options there and to be able to, explore them and get pamphlets and books like this.
Organisers say it's important for teenagers to be prepared for what life will be like when school finishes. Duncan says this type of event is helpful in showing them what avenues they need to explore in order to pursue their chosen career.
It can be a scary time for students and parents just trying to work out where they're heading once they finish school. So the opportunity to see a whole lot of different providers all in the same place at the same time just lets them have another opportunity to have a little bit more information.
Duncan says the number of high schools signing up to visit the expo each year is on the up, both in Dunedin and beyond. That gives organisers the confidence to continue staging the event, ensuring the city's young adults are prepared for their future. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
A grassroots wildlife conservation group is getting a boost in its profile thanks to a partnership with the Department of Conservation. The government department is throwing their support behind an Ara Moana-based trust as part of a campaign to highlight the protection work being done in Otago. But those in the group say they need the support of the whole community to make a real impact.
Looking out for local wildlife. It's all in a day's work for Ara Moana Conservation Trust Chair Bradley Curnow. The trust helps coordinate cleanups and conservation advocacy around the coastal settlement, and it's work that's been helped along by the Conservation Department.
The spotlight is to just show the wider Dunedin community that we actually exist, that we're actually out here doing it, and that we're really honoured as a charitable trust because we've got so many natural treasures living just here at Ara Moana, with the yellow-eyed penguins and the sea lions and there's albatross just over the road.
The trust undertakes a wide range of projects within the community to protect local wildlife. A weed control program is in place, as well as work to monitor and give first aid to yellow-eyed penguins.
We work with DOC in a lot of ways, with whether it be protecting the yellow-eyed penguins from weasels, stoats and ferrets, and working with them in the salt marsh, which is just behind me here, to make sure that Mediterranean cooch and other weeds aren't invading, so that they stop the birds from, native New Zealand birds from wading.
The partnership with DOC is all about showing what can be achieved as a collective rather than a group working alone. Both the yellow-eyed penguin and the New Zealand sea lion are both vulnerable species, and Curnow wants the wider community to be aware of the work being done to protect them.
Our biggest challenge is making sure that people understand how special this place is. A lot of people do get that and do understand that, but we still have a long way to go before there's a wider appreciation of just how special this place is.
The Ara Moana Conservation Trust is just one of several groups locally that DOC is throwing its support behind this year. The next spotlight is on the Quarantine Island Kamo Total Community Group ahead of the Save the Otago Peninsula Group later this year. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
A new art exhibition at Dunedin Public Hospital is shining a light on the talent within the mental health community. For the past decade, individuals involved with the Art Centre Art Studio have regularly displayed their work collectively. But the latest showing is seeing one man's work take centre stage.
Creative peaks. Within a busy corridor at Dunedin Public Hospital is a space for art created by people within the mental health community. Local artist Mike Hayes' work is currently on display, a product of his time spent at the Art Centre studio recently.
Life went a bit downhill for me this year, and so I went back to Art Centre. I've been there off and on since about 2000. Had a bit of a break, and then went back, must have been about February or March this year, and as soon as I could get in with the brush, just went for it.
While creating the work is what Hay enjoys most, he says being able to display the finished pieces is an exciting opportunity. And he's happy to share with the world the art he's worked so hard on.
Oh, I think it's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of foot traffic goes through here. I enjoy painting, and I enjoy people enjoying my paintings. So yeah, it's nice to get it out in public.
Art Centre Director Paul Smith says the dedicated display space helps provide some motivation for the centre's artists to create new work that may get displayed.
I think it's a great way for Art Centre to connect with the wider community and for artists to have opportunities to showcase their work.
Smith says the 5 display frames are typically used for group shows. But with Hayes' extensive body of work, he felt a solo show was best.
We've hung works that are like knitted and felted, so there's been mixed media works. Sometimes it's usually a couple of artists at one time, but Mike's been creating a lot of work, and so it was a good opportunity to give him a little taste of having a show.
The exhibition is up for the next 2 months. Plenty of time to help brighten the day of those both staying at or passing through the hospital. Daryl Baser, 39, Dunedin News.
University of Otago staff and students are getting a helping hand with their food research. 3 new state-of-the-art laboratories have been opened as part of a $56 million chemistry building refurbishment, and staff are confident the new space will be beneficial to research.
Checking out brand new state-of-the-art equipment. The University of Otago has just opened 3 new laboratories as part of its major chemistry building redevelopment. Professor Keith Gordon is one staff member pleased to have the new space and the new gear contained within.
The purpose of these labs is to understand the structure of materials, basically in the simplest sense. We use a form of laser spectroscopy, which is a way of listening, if you like, to the songs that molecules sing to you.
A new biophysical laboratory, trace elements centre and a laser lab are now open to postgraduate students, while 3 spaces have come at a cost of around $2.5 million. Staff say it's a real upgrade from the facility that dated back to the 70s.
I think this is really a sort of paradigm shift for us for a bunch of reasons. One is that we were able to secure some funding from the university, buy some new equipment that has allowed us to do experiments that we simply couldn't have done.
This new laser laboratory is separated into 3 parts to be used for different uses such as deconstruction. The space is helping those working within it to carry out important research into the food formulation of things like meat, milk and cheese.
We've worked pretty closely with Fonterra over a number of years, and this gives us a new opportunity and new capabilities to work with them going forward. But we also are involved with the Redet Institute, which is a centre of research excellence, which is a presence here at Otago. It's led out of Massey University, and its real mission is to make better high quality foodstuffs.
The 3 laboratories are part of a major refurbishment of the 45-year-old chemistry building on campus. The entire redevelopment is set to come at a cost of $56 million, with the first stage due for completion within the next 2 years. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, an annual festival draws one of the best Māori tattooists to the city, and we'll find out why a visiting Buddhist monk says there's much more to their teachings than meets the eye. Welcome back. One of the country's top Tomoko artists is visiting Dunedin as part of Māori New Year festivities. The Tauranga-based artist is giving brave residents the opportunity to get a traditional Māori tattoo, and it's filling in a much-needed niche in the south.
A small amount of pain for a big gain. Tamoko artist Julie Pa'ama Pingali has set up shop at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum as part of this year's Matariki festivities. She's here to give game residents their own tamoko, a permanent body and face marking traditionally used by Māori.
Exploring positive things around Māori identity and the idea of regeneration, so tamoko is kind of serves that role and within Māoridom.
The meaning behind tamoko is up for debate, with some saying it symbolises family and tradition, while others see it as an initiation into adulthood. Pa'ama Pingali says she'll tattoo anyone, regardless of their ethnicity, as long as they know what they want and the history behind it. She says she's always happy to come down south where the art form isn't as widely practised.
People are asking all over New Zealand, but I actually quite like Dunedin, because the south is like a different, I don't know, I get opportunities in the north all the time, but I'm always kind of humbled by the South Island and their lack of opportunity.
This is just one of many events taking place in Dunedin for this year's Puaka Matariki Festival. While Pa'ama Pingali believes Māori culture and identity should be celebrated daily, she says the festival is a great way to see it highlighted.
I think it's amazing how far Matariki's come. I think it's important to own our own cultural stories and our own significant events. And it's like moko itself, you know, it's important that we hold on to things that are important to us.
The Tāmoko station within the Toitu foyer will run for the next 2 weeks, with Matariki festivities on until the end of June. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
A visiting Buddhist monk is encouraging residents to look beyond the stereotypes of the practice. The teachings of Buddhism tend to promote mindfulness and a peaceful way of being, but she says there's much more to it.
It's a common misconception of Buddhists that they're all peaceful and happy all the time. However, visiting venerable Buddhist monk Robina Curtin admits she can often be an angry person, but says she's comfortable with her emotions. And she's pleased to have found who she is through Buddhist teachings.
They suggested, how about looking at your mind, Robina? How about looking at the mind in general, starting with your own? How that informs everything. And that I'd never thought about. That was a brand new idea for me, to start looking at my own mind itself.
Curtin's in town as a guest of the Centre for Peace and Conflict Studies at the University of Otago. Student Jo Llewellyn wanted to bring her here to find out about her history and her spiritual journey, and she kindly obliged.
You know, there's this nice saying that a bird needs two wings, wisdom and compassion. So the compassion wing in the end is a political wing. It's people dealing with human beings, dealing with the world, dealing with the suffering of beings, animals included, you know.
She says in order to be of any use to others and to teach them about understanding, a person needs to first understand who they are themselves.
Help a person play football, you have to learn football first. Help a person understand suffering, you have to understand your own suffering first, because it can't be separate. You know, we're all part of the human race, we're all part of the same thing, you know, we're all in the same boat.
This afternoon's event was Curtin's last talk in Dunedin, after several other engagements during the week. Daryl Baser, 39, Dunedin News.
And just ahead on Southern Newsweek, we take a closer look at the new installation at one of the city's iconic gardens, and a National Dancing Champs doubles as an opportunity to learn from the best. Welcome back. A series of large-scale sculptures have a new temporary home at Glenfalloch. The clay figures are the final project by an Otago Polytechnic master's student, and it's work that is deeply personal to the artist.
Gently does it. After more than 7 years of work, a series of sculptures are ready to be put on display at Glenfalloch Gardens. The large-scale project is the work of Otago Polytechnic master's student Suzanne Emsley. She estimates her largest sculpture weighs around 1/4 of a tonne, a far cry from her original concept.
I started with marquettes about 30 centimetres high, so within probably the first couple of months of starting with that, I just felt I had to go really big. So the big just has taken me probably about 10 months to make, and then all the small ones started coming in.
The 11 sculptures represent Emsley's mother and her siblings who grew up on a strawberry farm. As part of the project, 300 small strawberries have also been made to be scattered around the bigger pieces. Emsley says the idea behind the work was to reflect on and learn more about her own family history.
The idea is this project is actually kicked off from my honours year, so I was looking sort of internally, I was looking at myself and dealing with day-to-day issues and as much as out there. So it was really nice to go this year and actually look more outward and actually look at my family because they've had a huge impact on me while I've been growing up.
Emsley says over the course of the project, the pieces have taken on a fractured element, reflecting the cracks that often appear in families over time. While this work marks the end of her master's degree, she says she's already preparing for what's next.
I've got mixed emotions about it because it is kind of a finishing. You know, in my 50s, I kind of like the idea of just continuing, but I am signed up for Teachers College next year, so to me that's kind of an end to bring it all in together.
A handful of Emsley's Polytechnic peers are helping with the mammoth task of placing the sculptures at Glenfalloch, where they'll sit for the next few weeks. Their future after that is up in the air for now, with tentative plans for a public exhibition later this year. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
The southernmost waka armour competition in the world splashed into Otago Harbour recently. More than 120 paddlers from throughout New Zealand braved wintry temperatures to race in the 2-day regatta. And fortunately, weather during the event was very much on competitors' sides.
Taking to the water with ease, competitors from as far north as Whangarei have converged on the city for a 2-day regatta, hosted by Dunedin's Fire and Ice Outrigger Canoe Club. The Waka Armour Icebreaker Challenge is a chance for both experienced and novice paddlers to get out on the water during the winter months.
So today is about our singles and doubles over a set distance. It's a 10k at the most, and then we have what we call our W6s. Those are a big waka heading out for a novi race and a 10k race.
Bryant says the unique thing about the regatta is that it's planned during Dunedin's coldest months. She says it's the extreme conditions that often lure people down to compete, and it's why they keep coming back.
We've been running this competition now since 2000, and we have 16 years behind us now, and it has grown. Last year was our biggest year with 160. This year a little bit quieter, 139. Due mostly to the World's been held over in the Gold Coast, and a lot of those paddlers have just come back from there.
Bryant says Wakaama is open to anyone, with those on the water ranging from as young as 4 through to those in their 70s. As part of the 2-day regatta, she says there's plenty of time for those new to the activity to give it a try.
It's a really great opportunity for them to get out in the water. There's not many competitions here in the south, and it's a very safe body of water. The course that we choose is very safe for them to take part in. And we have lots of safety boats out there just to check that they've got that support on the water, and that's the entrance into the sport of Wakaama.
The weather played ball for the most part, with the calm waters only influenced briefly by a slight sou'westerly. While it wasn't the most challenging conditions, it did little to deter those taking part. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
And finally, almost 150 top Highland dancers have been putting their skills on show for a national contest. Participants were vying for glory in the Queen's Birthday Highland and National Dancing Championships. And for the young locals taking part, it was a chance to learn from some of the country's best.
Putting their best foot forward, these dancers are hoping to tap their way towards a top title at the Otago Centre Solo Piping and Highland Dancing competitions held at the College of Education.
It's our 155th festival for the Otago Piping and Dancing Queen's Birthday weekend. And we are also this weekend hosting the Under-18 New Zealand Highland and National Dancing Championships.
Nearly 200 people competed in the Under-18 Highland and National Dancing competitions, as well as the annual Solo Piping Championship. The participants, who range in age from 4 to 30 years old, have been competing in the 10 events on offer.
There's a number of trophies, as you can see, and there is also the prestige of performing at these particular competitions, and there's a number of championships being competed for over the weekend.
The traditionally Scottish pastime is proving popular locally, with a lot of people getting into it through older siblings and parents. Cowie says having the competition in Dunedin gives local dancers a chance to put themselves against some of the best dancers in New Zealand.
I think it's always very good for local competitors to be able to have dancers competing with them from throughout the country, and it does lift them and it does lift their performances.
From this competition, top dancers can go on to compete in the next national meet being held in Palmerston North next month. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
And that's all for this edition of Southern Newsweek. Remember to check us out on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, or you can take a look at our website at dunedintv.co.nz. I'm Holly Buchanan. Thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.